We're joined now by Rick Rennell. And Rick, we are learning more about what happened back in 2016.
This is unreal.
Just to kind of rewind back to 2016, the amount of surveillance that was being done by the CIA and other foreign intelligence agencies targeting 26 Trump associates before the 2016 collusion claims. This is again, we know that these were they were asked to both meet and develop relationships with individuals. That we haven't got a list of all of the names. Obviously, people like Carter Page, George Papadopoulos would likely be in there, but there's 24 more. I mean, a large group of people that the CIA and other intel groups were targeting. And Rick, I'm sure the American people want to know, at this point, how concerned is the Trump team this time that this could be yet happening again?
Look, I think we should be very concerned. We found the phony dossier and the phony charges against President Trump during the Trump administration. We tried to clean it up, declassify, and come clean, but now we're finding even more information. My first question is why wasn't this information presented? Who knew about it? We certainly did not know about it at the DNI's office. What we need to do is a thorough scrubbing of what the CIA knows and what they haven't released. There is troubling information in this latest report.
Yep. Rick, you were the Director of National Intelligence for the United States, and this is what they're reporting. The U.S. intelligence community had identified 26 Trump associates as people to, quote, bump. And then it says, with bump meaning make contact with or manipulate and to become an intelligence, basically, source. And then bumping is when a reason is manufactured to meet with the target of interest in order to develop a relationship that could lead to further intelligence. This was of a presidential campaign, and it launched the Bob Mueller investigation, which there's nobody knows more about that than Jordan and I, because we handled it. As this stuff becomes public, it's outrageous what Brennan and his colleagues were doing. And you wonder, what did Obama know in all of this?
Well, the most troubling part of me is that the CIA was asking foreign intelligence agencies to bump. They're asking foreign intelligence agencies to do their work and say, hey, can you reach out to these individuals? This is a coordinated effort by the United States government to get other governments to come after their political opponents. That is so outrageous. I can't even begin to describe the fury that people have towards the intelligence agencies that are asking our foreign allies and partners to spy and help them spy on political opponents in the United States. This not only is wrong and immoral and outrageous, but it also, Jay, sends the message to our partners that they can do the same thing, that they can spy on their political opponents, that they can push their political opponents off. The immoral character to tell other countries that this is the way the United States works is super troubling.
So, Rick, they said that John Brennan identified and presented the targets to the U.S., what they call intelligence sharing partners, of the so-called Five Eyes. And that would include the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Can you explain how all that works for our audience so they get a sense of when somebody like a DNI goes to these agencies, what does it mean?
So we have different levels of partnership, of course. We have certain countries that we trust and that we share a lot of information. Certainly there's a level of NATO allies that we share information with. But there's this thing called the Five Eyes, and that's a group of nations that share everything. We have a commitment to share everything we know because we totally trust them. And so this is what's troubling to me, is that this didn't get outed sooner. And remember, one of the Five Eyes is the British government, and the Steele dossier was developed over there. There's a lot of indications about who was doing that in our embassy. And it's always been troublesome to me that Gina Haspel, who was the deputy CIA director in the Trump administration in the very beginning when Mike Pompeo was the CIA director, and then she became the CIA director, but she was the station chief in London when all of this was brought to light. When the Steele dossier was being manipulated with the Hillary Clinton team at the State Department, this woman, Gina Haspel, was in London. And I've always, after working with her, I've always been very suspicious of when she's telling the truth and when she's telling the truth to the president of the United States, because I've actually seen her lie to the president, and I've had to out her for lying to the president.
You know, you talk about the Steele dossier, Rick. So, you know, for those that don't remember, the Steele dossier was what allegedly started the whole the Trump investigation on Russiagate. And then Steele, when cross-examined under oath in a deposition, basically acknowledged that none of his sources were verified. In fact, some of the sources that he said he used, when they went to the sources, said, we told him none of this is verified. Salacious was what Jim Comey said. But it got through to all the intelligence agencies and was used against a candidate for president.
And it was opposition research from Hillary Clinton. It was literally the Democrats' opposition research that became a narrative, and the intelligence community believed it. This is what's so outrageous, is that they just had many individuals who were leading the intelligence agencies at the time had an inherent advocacy to go after Donald Trump and to help Hillary Clinton. That's what happened. They believed fake information. They didn't check it. They used it, and then they participated in this whole charade with the U.S. government at the time and the intelligence agencies. And now we find out are partners.
I think this is what concerns voters today. And it's again, it goes back to what happened in 2016, what we learned through these last 8 years. But how much of this is going to be a factor if, in fact, President Trump, who looks like he'd be the nominee of the Republican Party this time through, that they kick this into gear already? For all we know, they've already kicked something into gear on this. I mean, remember, they started very early with this, very quiet, and then suddenly they start releasing it out on you to try and hurt you. Either this time it was because they got caught off guard that he got elected. Now they know he does have he's been elected before, so he can win. Do you think that they wait? I mean, I don't think that they're done trying to utilize this kind of tactic to get people at least worried or concerned about voting for President Trump.
Look, there's no question that we need to be suspicious of all of the information that's coming out of Washington, D.C. The intelligence community is absolutely not able to police the leaks and the partisans inside their organization. But I want to give people a little bit of hope, because if Donald Trump is elected and we are able to go back in and really clean up these bureaucracies, there needs to be gut renovations to many of them. And I'm talking about the leadership. The leadership needs to be gone and held accountable for their actions. And I believe that we can do it. I believe that there are enough career intelligence officials who hate the leaks, who hate the partisans, and who want to clean it up. We've just got to give them a little more voice.
You know, the nature of the injustice here, I think about this. Remember the attorney, Kevin Kleinsmith? He was sentenced to probation in 2021 after admitting that he falsified an email in order to renew a wiretap through the FISA court against former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. So they had already been wiretapping him, and to keep it going, he actually changed an email. And for that, he was suspended for the practice of law for 6 months. That was it. And then I could give you the list of lawyers that have been disbarred in their representation of the former president. So this double-tier justice system all emanates because of what the intelligence community. I'm not trying to blame the entire intelligence community, and I know, Rick, you've got a lot of respect for the intelligence. You were the director of national intelligence. They do a great job, but my goodness, the abuses here have been unbelievable.
The abuses are well known by the intel career officials. I've had a hard time when I was director of national intelligence getting career officials to brief members of Congress. They didn't even want to brief members of Congress because they know that these leaks are manipulated and they impact their career. They look like they're being political. They're having to defend information. And so there's a lot of individuals who are really sick and tired of the partisan and political process that's happening. But there's no question there's a two-tier justice system right now in Washington. We can fix it. we've got to send in the outsider. We've got to send in the guy that absolutely will fix it.
And we're working also on the FOIA aspect of this to get information. Thanks, Rick, for being with us. Really appreciate it.